Hi, I'm Soumya Kannan. I'm the global lead for Google Cloud Learning in higher education. I'm thrilled to be here today with my co-host, Kripa.
Thanks, Soumya. I'm really happy to be here too. My name is Kripa, and I'm a program specialist and a recruiter with the Talent Outreach Programs team.
Great. Welcome to our webinar today. The webinar has a catchy and provocative title for sure, but our goal today is to talk about the skills that employers are seeking when they hire professionals or graduates from college campuses. While there are many job roles in product engineering, business development, data analytics, and more, our focus today is around roles that relate to specific technical domains such as cloud infrastructure, application development, data and machine learning, collaboration and productivity, and such. These technical domains include engineering roles as well as customer-facing roles such as customer engineer or sales engineer, technical account manager, professional service consultants, technical support engineer, just to name a few. All right, so let's begin with core technical skills required for these job roles. Here's a word cloud of technologies on the right side of the slide, and the word cloud shows technologies listed in job descriptions for entry-level roles with various employers. Take a close look at key technologies that show up here. The larger the phrase, the more often it appeared in various job descriptions. Linux, Python, JavaScript, Docker, SQL, Kubernetes, these are all key technologies that appear prominently. For those university students who've completed the Associate Cloud Engineer track in the Google Cloud Career Readiness Program, you likely remember that many of these technologies were listed as prerequisites for joining the Associate Cloud Engineer track. Others who've been in the industry for some time will recognize them as foundational technologies for various job roles. Starting from the bottom of the stack and moving up, we've grouped the skills required to become cloud ready. So let's start at the bottom, foundational knowledge of operating systems and programming. The next level being technical domain skills in domains such as DevOps, data analytics, and cloud native app development, system design and troubleshooting, and finally, Google Cloud expertise required to solve business problems and enable digital transformations through technical solutions. Let's break it down further and take a look at each layer in the technical skill stack. At the bottom, employers generally seek skills in at least two of the three areas shown here. So we have operating systems, take your pick, Linux or Windows, Python programming, and lastly, web technologies. So again, build skills in at least two of these areas shown here. The next layer up in the stack, you will have a distinct advantage if you can show a deeper expertise in one of these areas here. These include system administration, networking and security, or databases. When working on technical challenges, it's likely that you enjoy or have aptitude for one of these technical domains. For example, do you enjoy scripting and DevOps, making things better, faster, removing inefficiencies in processes, or maybe wrangling data to produce meaningful visualizations and insights is your thing? Or maybe you get excited about building mobile apps, Android apps, mobile backends, or chatbots nowadays. Depending on your technical domain, there are certain technologies that you'll want to learn more about. And again, as an example, if you're interested in, say, DevOps roles, it's important that you're also knowledgeable in the underlying technologies that are important for that technical domain. To name a few, Git is the version control system of choice today. Jenkins is your build and release engine. Docker and Kubernetes are core technologies related to containers. So make sure to build a holistic set of skills in all these areas, depending on the technical domain that you're interested in. Finally, at the top of the stack, we have system design. Now, system design can be a key component of technical interviews. And you'll see many, many videos on YouTube with, mock system design interviews and such. System design questions typically assess your ability to turn business and technical requirements. Maybe there are some financial constraints and scalability constraints, etc., that take all of that together and combine that with your technical expertise about the technology components that you are expected to work with and turn that into a technical design solution. And examples of system design questions include things like, how would you design a service like YouTube? Or how would you design a service like the Bitly URL shortener? And like I said, there's many more on YouTube here which provide guidance. The key here is that you're synthesizing information here, right? So it's not just about individual technical components. Do I know Git or do I know SQL programming? It's about bringing everything together to build a solution that works for the problem that you're trying to solve. Finally, no matter what area you work on, debugging and troubleshooting skills are essential. And this becomes especially critical for customer-facing roles such as in support, right? So if you're a technical support engineer, you're not only debugging issues with your own code, but you are trying to understand problems that the customer is reporting and enabling them to first reproduce the problem and make sure that it happens consistently and you understand what the problem is. And then methodically analyzing the problem, following the breadcrumb trail, using the right tools to identify the root cause of the problem. Both system design and troubleshooting are essentially assessing your problem-solving ability and the ability to synthesize concepts to design solutions or resolve issues. To summarize, a strong technical foundation is key to success. Don't be intimidated. Identify the technical domain that you find most interesting and want to pursue a career in, right? Maybe this is your first time. Maybe you worked in similar technologies, but more on the on-premise side of things and you're making a shift to cloud roles. Either pick a domain or, expand on the technical knowledge in the domain that you're already working in, and then build skills in the one or two areas in each layer of the stack shown here. There are, of course, many online resources that you can use to ramp up core technical skills. To make it a bit easier for you, we've posted a blog with a curated set of resources related to each topic area. Check out the blog at the URL bit.ly/cloud-ready-skills. We have the URL up on the slide here. Also, the Quick Labs platform has great content to build technical expertise related to various domains. And so when you're working through the hands-on labs, don't just do the instructions that are in the lab itself, right? Dive deeper, click into the related links and resources there. For example, if you're working on a lab related to DevOps, again, we'll use that as an example again. Go look at documentation related to Docker or Jenkins. If you're looking at, working on a lab related to databases or analytics, go learn more about SQL. Make sure that your SQL programming skills and schema design skills are strong as well. And you build those core skills up while you work through other instructions in the lab. The top of the technology stack in this context is Google Cloud. Our learning paths are built around job functions that employers are creating in their organizations to enable digital transformations in the cloud. These job roles revolve around cloud infrastructure, application modernization, generating insights with data, and business transformation. We've created clear pathways that are targeted to these key job roles across enterprise teams, and the courses along these paths teach you about building cloud solutions at scale. All right, so I'm sure, I hope that most of you are, eager to get started. Now that you have a clear roadmap in front of you on how to methodically build up your skills to prepare for cloud careers. I'll just mention a couple of URLs here that you can look up for more information: cloud.google.com/training and cloud.google.com/certification have information about training and certification pathways related to various job functions. And if you're a university student, you can work with your faculty member or your institution to apply to the Career Readiness Program at g.co/edu/cloudready and benefit from the same curriculum that is available to enterprise professionals today. We covered a lot of ground with respect to technical skills. So are technical skills alone enough to enable you to succeed in cloud careers? Actually not, right? So beyond technical skills, you also need soft skills. And I'll hand it off to my colleague Kripa to cover soft skills.
Thanks, Soumya. So while technical skills will take you a long way in the process, employers often evaluate candidates for soft skills. Now, here is a word cloud, as you can see, of some of the popular soft skills listed across various job descriptions for entry level roles with various employers. Now, let's explore soft skills methodically. In addition to your ability to plan, organize, and prioritize your own work, employers are also going to be assessing your ability to work in teams. And hence, project management becomes a pillar which needs to be sort of strengthened in the arena of soft skills. Second, and one of the most important pillars of soft skills is communication. So, to be successful in professional settings, it is critical that you are able to communicate effectively. This includes the ability to speak and write concisely and clearly, wherein the punctuation aspects of emails, for example, are taken care of. Also, when it comes to presentations, delivering engaging and effective presentations that distill complex information into clear, articulate updates are key to good verbal communication. The third pillar and the most important pillar out here in the roles that we come across in the cloud world is, in fact, stakeholder management. In terms of being able to manage a wide set of stakeholders, taking the time to research and understand customer issues, being empathetic, and having great client facing skills and abilities to be able to put yourself in the shoes of the customer or the client is key to sort of nailing this. And while working with your team and managers, by managing their expectations, you can actually succeed in this particular pillar of stakeholder management. This may involve tasks like providing regular status updates, flagging risks early, ensuring that the customer has a holistic picture of your constraints and limitations, and vice versa. Moving on and summarizing these three key pillars, during interviews or during the hiring process of various employers, they often evaluate your soft skills in these key areas: for project management, communication, and stakeholder management being three key areas wherein there will be a lot of scrutiny and evaluation around expertise. Now, in addition to soft skills and technical skills, employers are continuously also evaluating culture fit throughout the hiring process. This means, do your values and behaviors match the values of the company or the employer? For example, at Google, we have three values: respect the user, respect the opportunity, respect each other. And these values, they govern the way we conduct ourselves in the pursuit of our mission. Now, each employer might have a set of their own values that guide their way of working and their way of achieving success as they work in teams. Now, as a good candidate, it is suggested that you do a little bit of groundwork and some pre work research around what the values and the cultural tenets are of a particular employer before heading into their process, just so that you're in complete alignment with what employers might be expecting when they are interviewing you or any point down the process.
Right. Thank you for covering the soft skills today, Kripa. That was super helpful. And just want to remind our audience that these soft skills aren't necessarily just to ace your interview, right? These are really the crucial skills that you'll need when working with customers, various levels of stakeholders within your customers, and also with other teams in the organization. We're getting a few questions from our audiences, so let's take a couple. We'll probably have time for a few. Kripa, the first question we have is, what are the key things that recruiters look for while screening candidates in this space?
That's a great question, Soumya, because ultimately it's what we as recruiters kind of spot on various platforms and mediums, and the profiles available of the candidate, that we can actually take a decision and go ahead with that particular candidate. So, first and foremost, as an entry level candidate, an updated resume with the key skills which more or less match the job description of the role that they're applying for would definitely be a very good start. Two, presence on online platforms such as LinkedIn would definitely, with an updated profile there as well, of course, would be another great addition. And in terms of visibility to recruiters, going and applying with that updated set of credentials on their respective career site would be a great way to actually get make inroads into roles that interest a candidate, especially when it comes to new grad or entry level positions.
Great. So it sounds like an online presence with an updated LinkedIn profile is important, and a complete resume that's crisp and concise, but showcases your the skills that you have. And this participation in challenges and publicly available competitions, there's like a lot of hackathons and such that happen. Is that something that's a positive when you're evaluating resumes?
That's definitely a bonus. It's definitely a bonus if a student or especially an entry level candidate is participating and making themselves visible through various challenges. And they may not be a top ranker in some of these challenges, and that's not the lens with which these challenges are really crafted. It's more to sort of develop their skills. And it's definitely, therefore, a big plus if a candidate is actually participating and showing that enthusiasm to and interest, high interest levels in being able to participate and develop themselves through various platforms that an employer is offering outside.
Great. All right. Next question is around soft skills. How should one build soft skills and leadership?
That's actually interesting because often when we are looking at entry level candidates or candidates who don't really have any experience in the professional world, this is a very frequently asked question. And typically, the ways to do this is make the most of your social environment, which is basically college campus and your cohort there, in order to build these skills. This could be by participating in various team activities at the college level. Need not necessarily be academic all the time because often some of these soft skills like leadership, being able to communicate well, delegating and managing teams effectively. At least the basics of these are learned even in non-technical setups. So be it being a part of, say, the organizing committee of a cultural fest or driving something together, working on a project together, and seeing things to the end, and making that impact. So being able to sort of do that during college days would definitely be an added bonus. I think a couple of things that get developed during such instances. One would be, of course, building up on your interpersonals. The fact that you're working together in groups of people or in teams, you're actually being able to harmoniously blend together and get things done and align on a vision. So interpersonals are key skills which will be effective even in the professional setting, of course. And also at points wherein decisions have to be taken, being able to do the right thing at the right time. These are things which sort of come with some amount of experience, but putting oneself out there, as a student, that's like the best way to expose yourself to a lot of these new experiences and build your skills in this format. So that's probably just 2 cents on building leadership skills at a college level.
And by the same token, for if you're already in a job role, right, working for an organization, ways that you can build leadership skills and soft skills are, host a tech talk or a brown bag lunch and talk about a technical topic that maybe you know more about than your colleagues. participate in your local developer group or user group for a technology. So for example, Google has Google developer group chapters in various cities. So attend sessions there, maybe even present or co-host a session there with a colleague. And those are great ways to not only build soft skills, but also build a public presence for yourself and build up your professional profile as well as your network, and meet others who are working with in other organizations and learning best practices and such. All right, we may have time for one more question. And this, we see this a lot. So, what are the possibilities of applying to Google?
Oh, this is an interesting question. Well, the possibilities are immense. And that's how we at Google like to also position it, because Google is an ocean of opportunities. The best way to possibly approach this space is to go and visit the Google Careers site and skim through different roles that may interest you in a domain of your choice. There are various filters that you can actually apply and look for roles that fit your requirements and your interest areas. What we also suggest is don't ever think that you're not experienced enough to apply for a particular role. Typically, we would have listed minimum qualifications and preferred qualifications. So at any level, be it as at an entry level or even at a lateral level, if you're looking to sort of get onto a new role that interests you and apply to Google, then perhaps look at the minimum qualifications and see if you can build your skill sets along those areas. And if that role really interests you, you must go ahead and apply for it. So that's the approach that we also like to sort of take here at Google. And we encourage, applicants from various different backgrounds in terms of professional backgrounds, etc., because ultimately that brings in diversity of thought. So go ahead and look at what interests you and urge you to apply.
Great. Thank you for that, Kripa. I mean, I really enjoyed, getting the inside scoop from the recruiter. I hope others learned as well. The whole session is not just from a Google perspective, right? So we've researched what employers are looking for when they hire for cloud roles, and we've covered the technology landscape as well as the soft skills landscape. We've talked about the culture fit that employers will assess when they bring somebody on board. So we've covered hopefully a lot of ground here, and thank you for joining us. Make sure to go back and check the blog post I mentioned earlier, bit.ly/cloud ready skills. And that has a curated set of resources that you can use to get started. And of course, here in this slide, we have the Google Cloud training and certification websites as well listed. If you want to check out the overall training and certification offerings that are available for you depending on your job role. And if you're a university student, we encourage you and your institution to join the Google Cloud Career Readiness Program to build cloud expertise. You can follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter at the hashtag Google Cloud Ready. Thank you, Kripa. I really enjoyed hosting this webinar with you, and I hope our audiences enjoyed the webinar as well. Please do send us feedback and let us know what else you'd like to hear us talk about. Thank you.